Welcome to episode 14 of Ketchup with Max.
And Jose.
The one with the Brie, or the one where I quit.
What?
Yeah.
You quit?
I quit today.
What did you quit?
I quit the Walt Disney Company. Heartbreaking. It broke my heart. I posted a video about it on my channel. It's been very popular. I had to make a decision whether I wanted to stick with the Disney Company, a job that I love, dream job, or stick with tasting history. I couldn't do both.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, cheers.
Tasting history is a demanding mistress.
To new beginnings, Mr. Miller.
To new beginnings. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, and also endings, because that's the last of your rosé gin.
Oh, this is the
rose
last
gin.
of the rose gin.
Oh, womp womp.
This is a sad day. My God. It's really been a stressful and, I don't want to say depressing week, but kind of a depressing week.
Yeah, it's a lot of change. You've been with the Disney Company.
For 7 years with the studio, and before that I was with Disney Cruise Line. And, I mean, I just love it so much. I'm so proud to have worked there.
Do you remember your early days of Disney Cruise Line? What that was like?
I do. I mean, I was only with Disney Cruise Line for a year. I did one contract with the Disney Dream, but it was a whirlwind of a year. One of the best years of my life. I started in Toronto. We rehearsed in Toronto, and then we went to Bremerhaven in northern Germany around Christmas, and we're on the boat, and there was no heating, and we had to wear like hard hats and heavy coats all the time. It was crazy. And then we spent 6 or 7 months in the Bahamas. It was really nice.
Were you nice and tan? It's hard to imagine if you were tan.
I was the tannest I've ever been.
Okay.
I'll say that. I was not nice and tan. I was the tannest I've ever been. I was still the whitest person on that ship. Except, so I often was... The cat is making a lot of noise. So our Snow White was not allowed to tan. Like, she couldn't go out.
Because she's Snow
White. You can't be snow tan. So it was,
Why not,
it was kind of
Max?
funny.
Why not?
This is character integrity.
Okay, fine.
But anyway, so what are we talking about today?
All right, today we're going to discuss episode 11 of Tasting History, which was the tart de Brie.
Tart de Brie.
From The Form of Curry.
Yes, from The Form of Curry.
Remind me, because I always forget. Who wrote The Form of Curry?
The master chefs of the court of Richard II.
Okay, because I guess I'm confusing it with Dare Coquinaria.
That was Apicius, though Apicius didn't actually write it. It was kind of a name that trickled down after the centuries.
Okay, but one of two of your staple books that you kind of go to often, I feel, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So tell us about this recipe, the tart de Brie.
So basically it's just like a sweet and slightly spiced, and when I say spiced, I don't mean hot spicy, but like nutmeg, cinnamon, kind of sugar, spice, tart made with Brie. And it's interesting because like you want it to be really creamy, but it's kind of firm once it cools down. Mm-hmm. You know, it is creamy right at the beginning, but like it cools very quickly, and then it's kind of firm.
I'm trying to think
it's still really good, though.
I'm trying to think if I liked it, but I guess in my head I was thinking that it would be like cheesecake, and it wasn't.
It was
cheesecake.
Not, no, it's not
it was
cheesecake.
not cheesecake.
It's not cheesecake.
So I was like, this is kind of savory.
Yeah.
And I actually don't really like cheese too much, so
that's a problem. I mean, it's not a problem, but it's a problem when you're trying to Brie.
It's a pound of Brie, which by the way is fine. Like
Brie is my favorite cheese.
Yeah.
I can eat Brie like a baked Brie
with a little jam.
Yeah,
no, it's great,
beautiful.
But there's a lot of cheese. It's a whole pound. So is there anything interesting that you remember from this history that got left out, or any corrections that you can think of?
The big correction was I talk about Emperor Charlemagne, and I can't remember now the year, but I think it's 774. And he wasn't emperor yet. He would become emperor later on. But I keep saying Emperor Charlemagne. So I was very much wrong about that. He was just Charlemagne.
Well, at least you admitted it, and and people were eager to correct. So
people were eager to correct, which I welcome.
Something I noticed that you do quite often in your videos is, and in real life, you click your tongue. You have that. That's a rarely pronounced, like Alyssa Edwards, like
tongue pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed I did it like twice in this video.
Yeah, I caught it.
I don't know why.
Did you do it before Drag Race, or is it just always something you?
Yes, no, I've done it. I've done it because it's not actually the tongue pop. It's more of a, it's a click. It's that.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What aren't you good at?
I'm not good at sports.
That's true.
Yeah.
Any fun sports stories growing up?
Oh yes. So, and I don't think it's on video. Maybe it's on video. If it is, Dad, you have to find it. So I went to once I scored a goal for the wrong team in soccer.
See, that only happens in movies.
It was surprisingly easy. Nobody was trying to stop me. But no, it actually happened. But no, the other one was I was on a basketball team, and there's just like I'm out in the middle. I hated running, even if it was just up and down the court.
You hate running now.
I hate running now. So I was just standing in the middle of the court doing this. Don't know why. I don't know how old I was.
He was 12. It was a little awkward at that age.
My dad tells that story all the time. I was very proud of my son playing sports, doing this.
That's at least a 3-pointer.
That's why I very quickly was moved into music and the performing arts.
They could have made you the team mascot or whatever that was. Oh, well, that's fun.
So yeah, sports. Not good at sports.
Yeah, neither am I. I think my parents, because we come from a Mexican family, soccer is kind of like we play soccer.
Football.
But I always just want to read. I was always at the library. I was always with my little Game Boy Pocket. I just want to be left alone to read and to play video games. Even now, leave me alone.
That's our life.
That's our life.
Get away. Play my video games.
I mean, I say it with a look. I actually don't say it out loud anymore. Like, by this point, you should know better. It's
I
like,
do. I do.
Yeah. Except when it's dinner time. It's like we have to share the TV.
Yes.
Turn off the PlayStation or whatever it is. Right. But anyway, back to our recipe. So the former curry tart de Brie. Is there anything else that you can think of, or any new learnings from that era?
I think that this is... I don't want to say this is one of my favorite episodes, but some of my favorite history came from this episode. The story about King Louis...
Jog my memory.
Louis, the one who got his head cut off, French Revolution, he got caught because they were fleeing from Paris, and they kept stopping and everything to get snacks and whatnot. And finally, he had to stop to get a snack of Brie and I think it was Burgundy or Bordeaux wine, and they caught up with him and took him back to Paris, and later on lost his head.
Wait, is this the one where you were complaining that it was taking you so long to draw?
Yes. Yes. So I have, I don't have any software or
what do
anything
you use? I mean, I'm sure people are curious.
I do absolutely everything on iMovie, and all my special effects are done on Keynote, which is like PowerPoint for Mac.
Yeah, and for
everything.
For my viewers, which again are your viewers, I also only use Keynote and iMovie because I don't know anything else.
I don't even have what's the one that everybody uses, like Photoshop. I don't even have that.
Yeah.
But usually you do things in After Effects and stuff. I don't have time to learn all that. You get somebody else to learn it for me.
One of the kids out there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Pros. They probably just teach it to you in school anymore. It's just standard.
But
do you remember Kid Pix? Were you around for Kid Pix?
No, that's probably after my time.
Oh, what about Mavis teaches typing? No. Was it Mavis or was it Makus?
I don't know.
How did you learn how to type?
We had a typing class.
Okay. All right. Anyway, sorry. So this map took you forever to draw. What about it?
So it's 80 lines, really short lines, but on Keynote you have to do each one individually and time it to go with a clip. It just took forever. The string out, the clip was something 15 minutes long that then I had to condense into 2.5 seconds. It just took forever.
Are there any other animations that have taken you way too long?
There was one in the Garum video I remember taking a long time. Oh, and then the Parthian. Well, you'll notice I rarely use things on maps anymore. The Parthian chicken episode is actually the worst. It took me an entire day.
Wait, which one's the one with the 4 humors where you introduced them in a...
Oh, yeah.
Was that one of them?
Yeah, but I don't remember what episode that is. I'm sure that we'll come across it as we make more episodes.
Eventually.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was a fun episode. One of your classics, pre-Garam era.
Indeed.
The PG
Pre-Garam era. When I still left the light off in the kitchen, so it was really dark.
This is probably your darkest episode.
Yeah.
Not for content, but just lighting.
Yeah,
Literally,
just
it was
lighting.
literally
It
dark.
is the darkest episode.
So this month you kicked off Rome Month. So you're working with Creative Assembly for Total War.
Total War Rome Remastered, which I played Total War in college for so many hours.
I didn't really have a PC until I was much older, so I think I missed it. I think
See, I never had any video game, like a console. I never had one.
That was all your brother?
Yeah, I've never had one. So all of the games I ever played were on computer.
So you played Rome Remastered, I
played that, I played SimCity, I played
Civilization.
Early Civilization. I still play Civilization.
Did you ever play Age of Empires?
I played Age of Empires.
See, I played Age of Empires. I don't know if it was 1 or 2, but I always loved that real-time strategy. StarCraft for me, World of Warcraft, I don't know. Like the base building game, and then you kind of...
Yeah.
But I like fantasy elements and not so much medieval history.
I like history elements.
But you like the history elements, so it makes sense. It checks out.
Checks out.
Yeah.
No lies detected.
I love that GIF. It's one of my favorite ones. I like sending it around.
Put it up here.
First chance I get. No lies detected.
No lies detected.
Anyway, have you ever taken a lie detector test?
No.
No? Do you think they're real?
No.
Huh. Okay. Good to know.
I mean, I'm sure that they have some merit, but they're not dependable enough to be, like, used in... No.
Okay.
There's no point.
All right. So Rome Month. So you ended up doing... What did you do? You did lardo? Or what was it called? So it's boiled fat.
Lari di cottura, which is, basically it's just boiled fat. And then the posca.
Which is vinegar and water?
Vinegar and water.
Is it the one with the dill?
No, that was the boiled fat.
The boiled fat. That's interesting.
But I did make one version where I put a little bit of salt and spikenard in it.
That's right. And,
I love spikenard.
Other people mention that there's other more modern versions of that drink, posca. And some people have mentioned that they've used honey in that drink. I think God, what do they call it? Shoot, I've had such a long
Switchel?
day. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. I mean, I know a little bit about it, but I don't know enough to really talk.
I feel a lot of people were like
popular in the 18th century.
Townsend's and Switchel. Yeah. Have you tried it? And that's great.
Go watch the Townsend's video about it. You should. I'm sure. I saw it a long time ago, but so I don't remember enough to like actually talk about it.
Yeah. So what comes next on Rome Month? Can you say?
I have to think about it. What comes next Tuesday?
Is it peas?
Yes, Vitellian peas.
Okay. You know what?
It's the peas are not the exciting part. It is the history. It's the Emperor Vitellius and the year of 4 emperors.
It was very interesting.
Very interesting time.
You know, all this talk of emperors, and I had to ask, like, I feel like there's so many emperors. In my head, it's like, I feel like they've reigned forever because the idea of emperor is like...
It's like 400 years.
It's like God King. But I'm thinking of like one person as an emperor. But you mentioned there's been eras where you've had...
There were 4 in 1 year. Heck.
Multiple emperors.
There's lots and lots of emperors.
Is there like a... How were they chosen or elected? Like...
I'm not entirely sure. Like, it was different at different eras. Yeah. It was always... Technically, it was always the Senate who elected the emperor.
Okay.
But, you know...
Interesting. All right, well, we'll get...
That's kind of a deep question to just like...
All right, well, we can discuss...
Explain to me the detailed politics of the Roman Empire.
You know what? Everyone's always asking. They want to hear more history. I'm trying to give it to them, and here you are pushing it back.
I gotta prep.
All right, well, we look forward to it. So you have 3 more episodes for Rome Month then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times. All right, so I don't want to make this episode too long, but I want to talk more about your time at Disney just because I feel like there's so much more to say. So we already covered the era where you were at the cruise ship, line. But you were also on Broadway a little bit. So for people who don't know,
I performed in New York, and I didn't really. That was before Cruise Line.
Oh, that was okay. My timeline's gone off.
Yeah, well, I did a couple things. Like I did Carnegie Hall, Guys and Dolls. That was after Cruise Line, and Carousel. I did at Lincoln Center,
which
Emmy-winning Carousel at Lincoln Center,
which I kind of saw on Amazon Prime.
Yes, you can go watch it on Amazon Prime. You'll see me on stage back there wearing a hat that Jose says looks like a loaf of bread.
It does look like a loaf of bread. It looks like a loaf of bread. Yeah, they're blurry pics out there. If you watch it, he's wearing
so much fun.
a piece of bread on his head.
Such a fun experience.
So cute.
But that was back in my performing days. And then after I came out to New York or out to LA, I performed for a bit out here. But then I ended up becoming a temp at Disney just because I needed money.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about your life as a performer, though. Like, what is that life like? I've never performed.
That's hard.
I have stage fright. Like I have. There's a reason I'm not on
camera. Performing is not hard. Performing is totally fun. That's what you want. But it's the never. I mean, this many people actually make a living doing it, and I made a living, but it was always living hand to mouth. So sometimes it was all right, and then sometimes it was taking saltine crackers and jam packets from the restaurant downstairs. But that was right when I moved to New York.
Yeah. New York's scary.
It was I loved it. It was a place to live in your 20s. It's a fun lifestyle. It's very free, and I got to travel a lot and meet all sorts of people and perform on stage with some people who I really, really respect. Marnie Nixon, who was the voice of... She did all of the singing for like every musical in the 1950s and 60s, from West Side Story to My Fair Lady.
I still have to see West Side Story. I need to watch the original because that Disney movie is coming in December. So
yes.
I need to know my source material.
Yeah, you need to see the original.
Yeah. Speaking of musicals, quickly, tangent. You actually took me to my first musical when we met.
Did
7 years ago? 6.5, 7?
7 years ago.
I had never been to a musical.
What was it? Do you remember?
Yes, he took me to the Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
And it great choice because it was a movie that I already seen. Yeah. And that, I knew some of the songs.
I brought you to later on. We did some more eclectic.
I'm trying to think.
Musicals.
What are some of my least favorites? Because I like.
You didn't like Wicked.
I did not like Wicked.
That's not off the beaten path. That's as commercial as you can get. You did not like Wicked.
I did not like. I was just rolling my eyes the whole time. And then one time you took me to the original cast reunion of Into the Woods.
Which
at that point I didn't appreciate because I'd never even heard of Into the Woods.
Right. It's like, oh my gosh, it's Bernadette Peters. Who? Oh god.
and everyone around me.
Who? Oh god.
And everyone around me was standing up, and I'm like.
It was amazing. It was the entire
It's like, who is this
cast,
lady with the squeaky voice that people are going crazy for? And now that I'm a little more learned in that...
Learned. It's learned, son. Put that Simpsons.
I don't know that one. You'll just have to say.
Oh, Papa Homer, you are so learned.
Learned, son. It's pronounced learned.
She's also the squeaky lady from...
Squeaky lady.
The squeaky voice lady, sorry. Yeah. From Annie.
Annie, yeah.
She's also in...
She's done lots of
Cinderella.
Stuff. She's in Cinderella.
And a bunch of other things that I don't know.
She was a great gypsy. When she showed up, she missed like half of her performances.
For what?
For Gypsy on Broadway.
I don't know.
It's a hard role.
Okay, I'm trying to think of one more that I didn't like. I think Grey Gardens. Grey Gardens?
Yeah.
That one was interesting.
I love Grey Gardens, but it is... That's a musical for a musical theater lover.
Okay. There was one song in there that I liked, and the rest I was like, oh man, where's this going?
It's a weird show. I love it.
I like Kinky Boots a lot.
That's his favorite.
Is it
Cabaret, you really loved Cabaret.
Oh, Cabaret's fun, yeah. Here's the thing. When you take me to things that I enjoy, I kind of run it into the ground.
Yeah. We'll listen to the music for like a month or two
on repeat,
every single day.
On repeat.
Which is fine. I don't mind that.
Okay. Well,
I mean, I think we listened to Hello Dolly 100 times.
I liked Hello Dolly.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So I'm not complaining.
Which I'm probably going to listen to it right after I finish recording
Before
this.
the parade passes by. Carol Channing is the only one that I like Barbara Streisand, but Carol Channing is...
I've seen both now. I'm getting some gay cred, I guess. Working my way. But yeah, no, we watched some fun ones, like the Hamilton on Disney Plus, which I worked with my colleague Devin. Hi, Devin. So musicals are fun. I think what's interesting about musicals is that the idea of performing it makes me embarrassed for the person performing. And not because it's like they're bad, even though sometimes they might be, but it's like, oh, you're putting yourself out there in front of a bunch of people and being judged or not judged.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm not on camera. Like, I just overthink, and
Is what it is.
yeah, either you have it or you don't. And I think you have it.
I think I got
You
it.
think you got it. And what's best
time
is
to
that
time.
I have front row seats to some of the performances you get spontaneously.
As I walk down the stairs, doing my best Norma Desmond.
The lights dim, and I have to turn one of these. What are these lamps called that we have up here? They must have a
The
name.
light panels? I don't know.
Yeah, well, sure.
The lights I use for filming. They're not like Klieg lights from like the 1920s.
Is that what they're called? Like the ones in the
The old
cartoons
ones.
where they're like,
Yeah, those Klieg spotlights.
yeah. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so that's musicals. So you had your time in Broadway, and then Disney, and then do you remember? We might have already discussed it. I don't remember. My memory's going. What was your first campaign up as a temp that you were there for?
So I started as a temp,
Yes.
and the first thing I think, well, Bears opened the day that I got there.
Bears? Oh, the Disney Nature.
Disney Nature
Okay.
Bears. So I think that the first movie was probably Maleficent.
The first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And I was a temp for a month, and then I got a full-time job. And yeah, it was some of the best movies that I worked on. It was not even just the best movies, but the most exciting movies to work on were Guardians of the Galaxy. The day that came out
Yeah.
was just nuts.
This goes down last time.
Inside Out was a real blast to work on.
Great movie.
And I mean, I was playing a very small role in this kind of stuff.
But you were
assistant
there.
to the, but
One of the
but
big
it was-
bosses. Yeah.
yeah, you really feel a part of it.
I think that's what's great. It's I have Alan Horn as chairman. Like he's mentioned before that it's it's our effort, our project. This
Yeah.
is our
We're
baby.
compensated very differently, however, but we do all feel a part of it.
Yeah. And small cog in the giant Disney machine.
Exactly.
But, I love my job, and it's
Yeah.
exciting. I look forward to it, even though it's a lie. But
And our movies are something you can be proud of.
yeah,
It's good stuff. It's
for
not
sure.
for everybody, but it's for most people.
in our heads we say it is. It's a 4 quadrants for everyone, but we have something for
It's
everyone.
like if you don't like Star Wars, maybe you like Marvel or Pixar or Disney Animation or there's so much.
Yeah, and now Fox titles, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Avatar, if that ever happens.
it's happening eventually.
Okay.
It's noted.
Sure.
All right. So, any thoughts going forward now of what's to come next? Because you mentioned you're still working on your book. You're sinking yourself in full time.
Seeing myself in full time, only tasting history. I'm working on the book. That has a few more months left. Once that's done, then I have lots of ideas for other things. Maybe a podcast, maybe covering other history, like that's not not even through food. I was actually talking to Mo about doing tasting literature, where we make foods from famous books and
Yeah,
poetry
People
and
have shown
plays
interest
and
in
stuff.
that. A lot from that book with the lady.
Yeah, I don't know what we would talk about. We would just talk about the book or whatever. It'd be like so it'd be very different. But I might do that with Mo. That might be fun he's a friend of mine. Lots of ideas. So more to come.
Lots.
But first is the book. Once the book is out of the way, so stressful.
Yeah. A little busy bee over here.
Indeed.
I'll keep out of your way, I promise. And you keep out of mine.
That's what it means.
All right, so before we wind down, to your left is our plush guest for this Tart to Brie episode.
Mareep?
No.
Woolly.
Wooloo.
Wooloo.
Yeah, which is a play on wool. It's a little sheep from the last generation of video games, Pokemon Sword and Shield. Mareep's the OG sheep from Johto.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we have a Ditto Mareep, I think.
I don't know.
Oh, well, there you go. It's so cute.
Very cute.
All right, well, Maxwell, I love you.
Thank you.
And thank you for our viewers and for the support and all the people following us on Instagram, which is...
Tasting History with Max Miller.
And you can find me at Instagram at World Against Jose. And Max is on Twitter. He's on TikTok. Which, by the way, you haven't done a Facts by Max.
I've been too busy.
She's been busy.
I'll be doing Facts by Max again once I'm a little further along in the book.
Okay,
I have no time.
He has no time. Yeah, you can find us on the socials. I feel like we're pretty responsive.
Very.
Pretty responsive.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're busy, but we're responsive. We're attentive. We don't have assistants yet answering our messages. Not
No
yet.
assistants.
Not yet.
We have a cat. 2.
It's the opposite of assistants.
Both of them. Very useless. But so cute.
They serve a purpose.
They do.
They serve a
They
purpose.
keep me happy.
They keep us happy.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you folks for watching Catch Up with Max and Jose. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.